Well, hey, everybody, it's me, Mitch. And I don't do reaction videos, and this is not a reaction video, but this is my impression of a video I saw on YouTube this morning that talks about a new study that links artificial sweeteners to blood clotting and heart attacks. I don't know if it's credible or not, but let's take a look at it.
Hey, this is a very important topic we're talking about, artificial sweeteners. They're a flashpoint when it comes to your personal health.
Yeah, because some studies show that they're a viable substitute for sugar, but when it comes to one compound in particular, doctors are worried about the impact on our heart health. So we went to the expert, Dr. Mark Elinoff of the Cleveland Clinic, to find out exactly what this is all about. Good morning.
Good morning.
So just one study that we're focusing on here, even though there are other studies that have been done, over the years on these sugar substitutes.
Right. The pervasive thinking previously was sugar's bad. Anything that's not sugar is good.
Right.
Well, not so fast. We haven't studied in depth most of these artificial sweeteners, and the latest breaking news about them concerns a compound called erythritol, which is found in many different kinds of so-called diet or no sugar drinks.
Okay, let me stop right there. So what we have is a local news team and the TV doctor, and we've all seen the TV doctors, who's the, quote, expert. I have never seen one of these experts on any news show that actually understands nutrition and diet, and they basically always default to the narrative of healthy fruits, vegetables, etc. In this case, we've got a doctor from the Cleveland Clinic, and I believe that's where the study was done. And we're talking about erythritol. Erythritol. And this doctor continually mispronounces it. Erythritol. Stuck an R in there. That raises a red flag for me. Let's continue.
And erythritol is very sweet, so it does replace sugar. It's got no calories, but in a recent study from the Cleveland Clinic, it was found to cause platelets to become activated. Why is that bad? Because all heart attacks begin with blood clots, and blood clots happen when platelets become activated. So this sweetener, erythritol, sets you up for a possible heart attack if you're already at risk.
Wow.
And in a previous population-based study where a giant group of people was asked, do you use erythritol or not? The people who had heart disease who took erythritol in their foods had more events, heart attacks and strokes.
No kidding.
So
wow.
the science, the basic science about platelets fits with the human studies. People do get more heart attacks and strokes.
It's interesting. So this is now, it's important, and another reason why you need to read the ingredient list on your foods, and even the little additive things that you put in your water to kind of flavor your water, or any of the soda pops that we drink and all of that stuff. So you really need to look for that particular sweetener and many other sweeteners as well.
The only thing you can be certain of is plain old water is A-OK. Nothing bad going on there.
Wow.
I remember, saccharin was the big thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Many years ago, and there was the big debate over that. And then, every once in a while we'll get one of these studies that comes out, yet then another alternate.
Then a stevia comes in.
Right.
And what are these just not researched enough or studied before they get out to the market, or can they kind of go out there before the FDA really does a lot of studies on them?
They're not put through the very rigorous studies that a new drug would be. Say you've got a new statin or a new medicine for diabetes. Those are.
Well, let's stop right there for a second. Obviously, neither of these news anchors knows anything. We've got a doctor here who can't pronounce erythritol correctly. And she's talking about reading ingredient labels as if we would know what any of that stuff is on the ingredient label. I mean, there are 65 different names for sugar. The one thing that this doctor did say that I agree 100% with is drink water. Water is going to default to the healthiest thing you can drink. But we go on.
Rigorously tested. These are tested in animals and found to be generally safe. And most of them are generally safe, but you're right, they're not put through the rigor of real medicines.
Okay, so now he's talking about the rigor of the testing of real medicines. And we all know that most of this so-called rigorous testing is rushed through. It's done with studies that are conflicted, agenda-driven, bought and paid for by the drug companies and the food companies. And he's telling us that we can't trust these sweetener studies because they're not being tested as rigorously as these drugs, which we know aren't tested rigorously or realistically. But the interesting thing, and my takeaway from this, is simply who might be behind a study that shows that artificial sweeteners are bad. And if you're a cynic, you have to say, well, is it the sugar companies that want people to stop this stuff? I don't know. I haven't seen the study. This is not a deep dive into this study. This is more a deep dive into the state of how we get our medical information presented to us on newscasts by who are supposed to be believable doctors who thoroughly researched this. And in this case, a doctor that doesn't even know how to pronounce erythritol properly, and newscasters who never heard of any of this before 10 minutes before the newscast and the interview. Is it true? It may be, and that's why I'm presenting this today. That's why I'm bringing this to your attention. If, this is the point I want to make, if there is any truth to the fact that these artificial sweeteners screw with platelets and any of the clotting mechanisms in our body, then yes, they would be indeed dangerous, and especially so for those of us on a keto diet. Not necessarily carnivore, although some carnivores do use artificial sweeteners. But the keto people rely on these artificial sweeteners in making all of the low-carb versions of the foods that they can't live without and can't give up. Anyway, I'm going to look further into this. We'll be talking about it again in the future, but I did want to bring this to your attention. I thought it was very interesting. I'm going to put a link in the description below to the YouTube video that I was showing you parts of here. And if it's something you think you might be interested in, and you want to judge the credibility of this news report for yourself, by all means, take a look at it. And after you've done that, take the rest of the day off and eat meat.